you're trying to body me up there, though. That's a foul. I'm calling it right now. You're a hacker. I can see it right now. Skeletor's a hacker. Or Peter Tor. Peter Tor's a hacker.
I mean, these guys carry swords. I don't know if there's...
That's true. There's probably no foul. As long as you're not cutting off a limb, you're probably safe.
No blood, no foul.
Literally, that's where it came from, right here with the sword in his pocket. So, oh, man. All right, live from the studios at 200 State Street in New London, the Day's beautiful new headquarters. It is time for the Eastern Connecticut girls basketball power rankings. Now, I feel like I should, once again, say to everyone out there, Eastern Connecticut means New London and Windham County. So I am going to mention a couple of schools not in our poll because they are not in New London and Windham County, but, in fact, are in the eastern half of Connecticut as we get to a relevant point in the poll. But for now, it is New London and Windham County. It is the top 10. Now, I should say that I received the poll from Holly McCalla, and she will be joining me Friday for Montville St. Bernard's boys basketball live from Montville High School. And she has kindly agreed to contribute to the girls' power rankings, and she does her homework and sent me in a very comprehensive list. And so my top 10 is a compilation of my beliefs and her beliefs, and I have notes to add to them as well, so thank you, Holly. And we both agree that at number 1 remains the Ledyard Colonels. Now, what's interesting about the Colonels, big win over New London last night, and they dropped a couple games out of conference to Colby and to North Haven. And if you look at what Coach Morgan said in the paper today, this is something that had been told to us in the comments. They said, Ledyard's pretty beat up right now. And he said, we had injuries, we had the flu, vacation. And I want to go on record because we actually saw a boys team play without one of their best players because the vacation week is kind of an interesting week. You've got these mega tournaments all over the place, but you've also got kids going skiing, with their families. So it is an interesting week. I think we've hit the post-vacation time now. Kids are back in school. Now the season gets into sort of the grind of it all. I think Ledyard's only getting healthier, only getting better. They have a big game coming up soon with the number 2 team, which I will comment on shortly, but I think we're all in agreement that Ledyard is the premier team.
Well, and this is what we've been waiting for, right? The first couple of weeks, it's still sort of imaginary as teams are playing in these tournaments and they're playing out-of-conference opponents and people. We've heard it from some of the boys. I'm sure we're hearing it from girls, players, and parents and coach. Why aren't we? Because we are making our best guess and we are making assumptions. And over the next couple of weeks, now we are going to see who is winning games against each other.
Yes. I will say I loved the reaction. We were at St. Bernard yesterday to do some of our pregame stuff on them. I loved their reaction. They actually completely understood. They were like, yeah, we haven't we're weird. We've played 2 elite out-of-conference games, and our one in-conference game against Woodstock, we won. And is there a team that we don't know? Woodstock's probably the most obscure team that they could have played to start in conference. And they gave us these wry grins you'll see. You'll get to know us a little better soon. This is where I feel the girls are right now. If you look at starting last night through the next 10 days, everyone's playing everybody, and it's going to be a real good opportunity to find out, who can rise and who stays where.
Well, and team number 2 is a perfect example of this.
They are. So at number 2, in agreement, Woodstock Academy. And that game with Ledyard coming up is going to be fabulous. Woodstock is 4-3. So to be clear, our number 1 and number 2 teams have 5 losses between them. If you look at where those losses come, though, and more importantly in Woodstock's case, who their wins are against, right? They beat New London, they beat Fitch, they beat Stonington. Next Tuesday, is the game where they play Ledyard. That is going to be the must-see game on the girls' side. Who are their losses to? Well, one of them is to Ellington, and one of them is to Coventry. And we've certainly heard about how good Coventry is. Both Coventry and Ellington, elite teams in the state. And that's who Woodstock's lost to. So based on who they've beaten, I think Woodstock's clearly 2, and that's going to be a great 1-2 game.
Yeah, it's nice that this is getting decided on the court now, because I think we thought Woodstock was going to be good, was pretty good, but it's hard when we're just judging on records to take a team 500 or below and bump them above someone with a really solid start to their season.
And I don't know what a loss to Coventry and a loss to Ellington means, but I do know when they play each other head-to-head on Tuesday, I don't have to worry about any of that anymore. Coming in at number 3, moving up a spot, 6-1 East Lyme. Now, nice win over, we can, NFA is not what we thought they were going to be. They're off to a rough start. But a 17-point win over NFA. East Lyme just keeps taking care of business, right? They keep beating the teams in front of them. Kaylin Delaney is off to a great start, 20 points last night in the win over NFA. 6-1 is 6-1. I think as we get into the meat of the schedule, you're going to see when they start playing Fitch and when they start playing Ledyard, and we'll see where that goes. But right now, East Lyme's just doing everything they're supposed to.
Yeah, and it's exciting to see a team come out with those big numbers in the win column.
It is, and there's if you look at the league's records of all these teams, outside of an undefeated team down at the bottom of the poll and East Lyme, all of these teams have 2 and 3 losses because they're playing these tough out of conference schedules. So now is where they get to start to feast within the conference. Number 4, speaking of a team with 3 losses, they're 4-3, but the Fitch Falcons will come up from 6. I want to read you so they beat Killingly last night by 20, and I just want to read the line attributed to Sanaa Waters. 34 points, 17 rebounds, 10 steals, 8 assists. That's 2 assists shy of a quadruple double. And that means that she contributed to 50 of their 66 points. That is as filling of a stat sheet as you can. We talked about her in the preseason as a Player of the Year candidate. Amaya Spadola had 20 and 20 for Killingly, and that's not even the most prolific night in the game. So Waters, McCoy had a big game as well with 15 points. I like Fitch a lot. If they can kind of get their feet under them, I still think the ceiling there for the Falcons is high.
If we were going to pick a preseason Player of the Year, it probably would have been Waters, and she is showing us why.
It's funny you say that. I'm gonna use these front 4 for a second. If you were to say, is Maggie Dykes a Player of the Year candidate?
Yes. 100%.
If you would have said, is Beauchene a Player of the Year candidate? Yes. If Waters were Player of the Year candidate? Yes. And the way Delaney is playing right now, she's putting herself in this conversation with sort of these elite players. Not surprisingly, right? These are the front 4. When you start going down into our next 2, the 5, 6s, they also have those kinds of players, and I think that's where the league has a decided, almost like there is a hierarchy. So at number 5, the Stonington Bears, 4-2. Now they had back-to-back losses against Westerly and Woodstock. Very, very good teams. That's after winning 4 straight. They've got Fitch coming up. Like we said, all of this stuff's going to be decided on the floor. 61 points a game. They can score. They're probably one of the better offensive teams in the conference. We'll see how they look playing against Fitch in their upcoming game.
Yeah, and that has been a question for us, is how do these ECC D3, D2 teams do against the top dogs from ECC Division 1? That's a question that we get from the audience a lot. Like, how do you decide when you've got a 4-1 Stonington, a 4-0 Wheeler, compared to a 3-2 Ledyard and Woodstock Academy.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to see these crossover games so we don't have to kind of do the what ifs.
Yeah, so we'll have 5 versus 4 and 2 versus 1. And, of course, East Lyme's going to be playing everybody here coming up as well. Number 6, rounding off what I would consider to be a definitive upper half, or the New London Whalers. They went into Ledyard. Ledyard handled them. The problem there was styles. New London style. Ledyard does New London style better than New London does right now. When you're down, the only way New London knows how to come back is to turn up the intensity and the tempo, and you can't run enough for Ledyard. You just can't. There's no running that will make them uncomfortable. They ran away with it last night. But I loved the comments from Coach Mars Garrick and New London where she said, and you don't hear this off of a loss, right? She said, I'm so excited. We're only 6 weeks in, and I'm looking at how much better we can and will get, and I'm just so excited to help be the person that will get us there. I can't wait, to look back. Right now, we're looking forward. I can't wait to look back and see how far we've come. I'm like, what a great... I felt inspired by it. I mean, next week when we talk about the boys' power rankings, I'm going to talk a little bit about Brady Sheffield and Old Lyme. Their response to a close loss was, no moral victories. We're better than that. New London's response on the girls' side to a tough loss to Ledyard, I thought was perfect for this group, which was, guys, new coach, new players, all getting to know each other. The future is all ahead of us. And I think New London, simple as this, their consistency is the biggest issue. There's no place on the – I don't think – let's put it this way. No one's going to want to play them down the stretch in the tournament anywhere.
No, looking at the teams ahead of them, New London should expect by the end of the season to compete with every single one of those teams.
100%. So 7 through 10 is where I think we get into sort of phase 2 of the ECC. Not that any of these schools aren't excellent and competitive, but I think there's a definitive drop-off as we move into this is now like, let's move into the small school section of the poll. And at 7, the Wheeler Lions. I thought Holly McCalla said it perfectly. They might be the hardest working team out there. Everyone knows they work hard, but 38 points a game, that's not good enough to win at the next level, even in the state tournament. They got to find a way to get a little bit more offensively efficient, still incorporating a freshman as as one of their leading scorers and players. They've lost 3 straight games. They were 5-0. They've lost 3 straight outside of the ECC. They're back into the ECC mix now coming up, and I expect them to see their wins go back up.
And so what do those 3 losses mean to that team? Those might be – coaches don't like good losses, but those might be losses that make that team stronger and more competitive. Like – They are not going out and trying to beat or be better than the Fitches and New Londons of the higher tier of the ECC. So do those losses and those competitive games outside of the ECC help them when tournament time comes around? You've got to imagine that they're circling their rivals down the road. What do we need to do to be competitive when the time comes in the tournament with Stonington?
And remember that if Wheeler makes the ECC championship in the Division II tournament and Stonington makes the ECC championship game in the Division I tournament, I am walking, cycling, hoverboarding, something between Stonington High School and Wheeler High School. I am making that trip. That was pre-decided in the early days, and I am a man of my word. Let's just hope that doesn't happen.
Oh, we're going to make sure it happens.
Number 8, I'm glad I'm getting him in now because I think the schedule. This is a team I've been maybe a little high on, which is the Waterford Lancers. I'm still waiting for them to kind of figure things out. I think there's too much talent in their core group to not be a better team. I mean, Walker's a 1,000-point scorer. The Tivens are both excellent team. I mean, those girls know how to play team sports as well as anybody. I keep waiting for Marlena Childs to kind of, we keep talking about shaking off the rust, and I'm just waiting for her to kind of turn it on again.
Is this a situation similar to New London? First-year coach, talented players, some tough games in the beginning of the season, and they're going to figure things out down the road?
I think the answer to that is yes, except they've got Woodstock, Stonington, East Lyme, and Fitch amongst their next 5 games. So they might have to go through this. This might be their gauntlet stretch for them to come out the other side of it. But I don't believe that a team that has that kind of talent, Walker had 23 last night, Weymouth 10 and 15, Childs was in on the, I think they're too good to be down there at the 8 spot, but also they probably are not quite there. They're not ready yet to compete with those top few teams for the reasons that you just brought up.
So there are a couple players on that team that, I hate to mention this, but are going to be, I think, hearkening back to what they learned as youth soccer players under a very talented youth soccer coach.
Well, listen, I am a big believer that if you win a state championship on a team, that there are lessons that are learned, and I'm a big believer that it crosses over in sports. And
so just to be fair, I only had some of these guys as 8-year-olds back when or even before, as
it doesn't
6-7-year-olds when I was coaching Mason's co-ed teams.
Listen, when my little league team won the district and my intermediate team won the state championship, I was fully crediting myself as they went on to great career.
So Marlena and Serafina,
there you go.
I'm looking at you guys. You guys were my U8 superstars. I want to see it on the court.
Who were the girls that shot the basket in the Got It video?
Still 7th graders. So
okay,
you will see them. So one of them was Callie Arbor.
Was one of them? Okay, all right. So play of the year. Okay.
I'm still convincing her that she's a soccer player, not a basketball player.
Well, you can be both. All right, I got to see those. I got to give a Got It to them from the Got It video. Number 9, the enigma of the top 10, Parish Hill. They are undefeated. Listen, you're undefeated. I don't know what else I can tell you. I think that's fabulous. You can't do any better than that. And if you're undefeated by the time we do next week's poll, you won't be at 9. The strength of schedule is commensurate with their schedule. I mean, that's what they are. But here's what's interesting. Coming in at number 10, remaining at 10, is Norwich Tech. Well, Norwich Tech is 4-1. They lost their opening game of the season to
Parish Hill,
and then they ran off 4 wins in a row. So that, to me, those 2 schools at the bottom of the countdown are giving love to the little guys, and as the teams continue to play. So what pick in there? All right, I'm going to give you a chance. What school in the top? What schools between 4 and 8 will finish higher than where they are right now?
Fitch and Stonington.
Yeah, I think so too. And that could also be because everyone's going to be playing each other. You're going to get a lot of teams beating each other up. Which team? And this is where I'm going to really put you on the spot. If only one of these teams can emerge as the team that separates itself from the rest of the league, who is it?
From the entire poll?
From the entire poll.
So the obvious answer is Ledyard, but I'm going to say Woodstock.
I was hoping you were going to say Ledyard because I think it clearly is Woodstock, and here's why. If they beat Ledyard on the 13th, they will have beaten New London, Fitch, Stonington, and Ledyard. That would be 1, 4, 5, they will have beaten everybody. So, yeah, I think Woodstock has, because they've already won the first one, they're in the best position to do that. If they can sweep those teams, then they could finish the year in a remarkable spot. What I like most about our girls right now is that they're all about to start playing each other, and that's where we get the good stuff. So, as always, let us know your thoughts, as long as your thoughts do not include why your team that is not in the New London or Windham County should be brought up. Special shout out to my guy Dom Lombardo, the head coach at Bolton, because he reached out to me and asked, hey, any way we could pretend we're in New London or can we get into one of those counties and just get a mention? But for the schools like Coventry and Bolton who are reaching out and saying, hey, we want to be a part of this, thank you. I think that's awesome. I think it's great that you guys want to be a part, but you're going to have to get a hold of the governor's office and get a renegotiation of your status and see if you can defect.
No, so we've got a bunch of maybe one of these days we do a neighbors top 5.
Ooh, I like that.
Westbrook doing really well. Tolland and Morgan. Tolland 4-0, Morgan 5-1. There are teams that we see as crossover opponents who are not too far away. Coventry 5-1 now, who might call themselves Eastern Connecticut or Eastern Connecticut adjacent, that are having great starts to their season.
All right, I'm going to propose this. We'll create a top 5 neighbors poll. I love it, and the criteria are that you have to have beaten somebody that is in our top 10, and or you have to be a neighboring town to one of our top 10. So for example, Coventry beat Woodstock. Is Coventry do they have a neighboring town that is in the Eastern Connecticut Conference, or
yes?
Then Coventry would be considered to be eligible for the neighbors poll. Morgan of Clinton, they
other side of the river.
They do, but they play Old Lyme, and Old Lyme is in our thing. So I think we can as the season goes on, maybe we'll drop a top 5 neighbors poll in there. But as always, let us know what we did wrong, who you think we should be talking about. And if you are interested in getting more involved with Game Day and all of what Game Day has to promote, reach out to me or Peter on social media and let us know you want to get more involved in Game Day and what we do. And we'll be back Friday night live from Montville High School with the premiere of the main high school season for us, Montville and St. Bernard. And from there, we will be taking a tour of as many boys' games as we can, and we'll, of course, have the girls and the boys in the postseason as basketball season is now underway in the ECC and all of Eastern Connecticut. So check it all out. Game Day CT, if you're not already a